Okay, here we go, folks. Hey, Nordic. It's not showing you're online. I guess this thing's just slow to respond. Rainy, chilly evening. Not chilly here. It's been rainy for a week. Maybe even two. Which I don't mind. I just don't want the lightning that goes with it. Let's get a piece of cardboard that we're going to use here. Because I actually finally did something I should have done about a week ago. And I finally sealed the KVs. And let's take these anti-tank guns and drop them in here. All right. So here's the KVs already sealed. Mid-60s rating all day. Yeah, it's been mid-80s for us. Mid-60s in late June. Okay. Well, here's the two KVs. And we've got the stands for them already painted, the base color. So we're going to brush paint these and let them dry, and then cut out where the tracks go and then glue them in place. So we'll be ready to roll in the morning. Anyhow, and we'll work on something else while we're doing this. We'll work on something. I don't know what we're going to work on. Probably the Soviet trucks. We should do some Soviet trucks. That's what we're going to do. So let's get the murders with the humidity. Well, the humidity, as long as the sun's not out. I don't like the humidity, but what I can't deal with is it being hot. Can't deal with it being dry. The dryness kills me. U.S. Field Drab is the flavor of the month here on the other one. I'm hoping Hoffman Samatobin's on here. I gotta talk to him about something. Oh, well, look at this. Look at this piece of shit. That piece of shit brush just broke like that. Soviet Red Army. Yeah, so I sent out 2 days ago. I'm not even gonna fool with this. This ain't worth my time. I sent out the my second batch of Noble Knight. So we'll see. I decided to sell all of my. It's too late now. It's been decided. All of my Wings of War stuff, and the two mats. You know, some things you lose money on, and sometimes some things you make okay on. Some things you break even. The Wings of War mat, they didn't give me very much for each one of them, but I really don't need to keep them around. If they say Wings of War and stuff on them, I only played the game like frickin' twice. I played it a lot. I just didn't play my copy more than twice. And that's stuff that I bought with things that I had sold before. So I feel a little bit better about it. But then some things, like I had a copy of Force on Force, and they gave me like $10 more than I paid for it. So it's going to a good home. Anything that they get from me is in extremely pristine shape. I just do it. That's just the way I handle books. You know, do I have any books that are dog-eared? Yeah, and I'm upset about it. You know, not very many. And it was an accident. I take care of things. I've not had things before, so I remember you got to take care of the stuff that you have. Speaking of Noble Knight, got the confirmation email service process. I don't blame you. Wings of War is best played with a bunch of people. So something happened the other day that I hadn't really even considered. I was playing a game with my normal crew, and they decided to take a pizza break in the middle of the fucking game, right? And they get freaking food and shit over stuff. And I'm like, okay, so let's say I keep Wings of War. Am I going to get in a fight with my local people every time because they're barbarians and can't just like eat? And then, I don't want my shit trashed, you know? Unboxing Fiend. Yeah, well, I noticed I haven't gotten a single freaking comment on any unboxings. Well, that's the thing is when you do the whole unboxing of all the kits together, it you kind of steal your own thunder. But I wanted to get those things out there because, the videos are fun to do, and those are actually quick to do. But yeah, I had so many, and the next batch I get from Noble Light's going to be the same thing. You know what dirty dogs do? Yeah, they roll around in the trash. They roll around in Alleyway Alley. Hey, we got our share of homeless people here too. It's like all of a sudden it's like in style. And I think they're and people think, oh well, they're just homeless people. I said, well, they're not right in the head, because I'll tell you what, if somebody says, I don't care if I spend the night under a bridge, that's something wrong. That's something wrong with you. I don't know, some people claim that it's just a side job, that they actually make more money than you do panhandling. I don't believe that for a second. Like I've heard stories that some people get put in jail and they don't know how to live in the real world, so they actually commit another crime so they get put back in jail. Not me. I do not want to be in jail for an hour. If I absolutely have to have a boyfriend, I want to pick who it is. It's not going to be my cellmate. I want to pick somebody that I can get away from, if you know what I'm saying. Skylab, Utah chapter. Welcome back. Sorry, you're not available. There he is. Okay, I was waiting for you to show up. What's this about boyfriends? If you absolutely have to have one, make sure you pick one. Make sure you pick one you can get away from. I'm just guessing. I like ladies, but, make sure you don't get one that can kick your ass, Okay, Mr. Hoffman. So here's the bone I got to pick with you. It's not really a bone. It's just, I got to talk to you about Black Mirror. I went on a binge, and I did something I never did before, which is I just watched one episode after the other, not paying attention how many are in the series. I get the last episode in the season, and I'm like, that's it? No, I couldn't stand. Have you seen them all? Have you seen all of this season? Most of them were okay, except one. Guderian's Blitzkrieg. Because I don't want to spoil it for you. Although, you weren't around, so I've had to talk about this to several people face to face that had never seen this particular episode. Right. Iraqi Sand it is. Episode 3, I think, is the one that I've seen them all. I was okay with the majority of them. Beyond the Sea. Beyond the Sea proves that Hollywood is fucked up to a tremendous degree. Beyond the Sea, the one with the astronauts, right? It's a well done episode. And I'm sitting there watching it, and this is why I don't try to read ahead, because I totally would have made that episode when they end up murdering his family. The rest of the episode would be like how he gets the other guy's body, and he goes and pays vengeance to him. And then the problem is that he looks like the other dude, so everybody would think that the other guy did it, and he didn't. You know, I had already figured that's how it was going to be, right? But oh no, it's crazy, sick, and twisted Hollywood, and it turns out the other way. And I'm like, there's no way in a million years that I would have written that episode that way. Yeah, you got to get the free shipping on that Nordic. It makes no sense to do it any other way. You know, the idea that this guy lost his family and he's going to go and get frisky with somebody else's wife. It's like, you know, are there that many people cheating on their wives where you got to make enough shows like that so people don't feel left out? I don't know. That's just kind of I hated the way that one was written. The mass opportunity that was missed. That was totally a vengeance right there. But I enjoy vengeance movies because I can relate to that. That's what I would have done. It wouldn't make it better. They're still gone, but you know. I'm not a fan of they'll get theirs in their next life. Well, what if they don't? Did you not like Demon 79? It was all right. It was okay. I actually did like the astronaut one. I just didn't like the direction it went in. It was done well. I just didn't like the direction it went in at all. It disturbed me. It disturbed me that it wouldn't disturb other people. Yep, there you go, Nordic. Actually, you commented it in something else, and somebody else that some guy on some video was basically like being proud of that shit. And you know, if things don't work out, you need to go each other's separate ways, and once that's done, then you can do whatever you need to. But that's some dishonorable shit in my book. I don't know. I guess my dad was just not into shit like that. Demon 79 was okay. It felt a little disjointed. One of the things, there's a couple things that creeped me out, and things with horns is one of them. So that silhouette of the demon before he changed into the singer was I'm glad they changed him over. I would have had a hard time. I would have been looking over my shoulder the whole time while I was watching that. Are the internal U.S. postage rates expensive? Yeah, they've gotten more expensive, but not like stuff to England. Or Australia. I know somebody's in Australia. Just might as well be in the moon, you know. Well, I'm with you all the way, Nordic. Just you and me, man. It's a small rowboat that we're in. Not cool. Anyway, that episode was certainly not written for me. Barnes, the standard shipping is $10 a Noble Night, but I'd rather take the $10 to cover the taxes, get free shipping. Plus, I'm going to be near enough to the free shipping mark, so why not? Exactly. Nobody wants to pay for the shipping. Hide it in there. I am honored to share the boat with you. Yeah, I'm many things, but that's not one of them. That's not. I mean, I've almost worked at the same place for 30 fucking years. I mean, I think loyal is kind of my middle name. All right, let's do the little edgy. Yeah, and I don't say stuff. I don't say I'm gonna do something and I don't do it. You know, shit like that. It's just, I don't know. I saw that episode and I'm like, wow, I live in a different world. Let's see. The first episode, of course, was funny. Was pretty funny. Even though I didn't recognize the girl, I'm like, oh, that's the girl from Schitt's Creek. I'm like, man, they made her look pretty rough. That one was good. The second one that had the murder thing, it kind of didn't go anywhere. Whatever it was called, Lock, whatever. It was funny because I remember the name that was in the previous episode. So that was the tie-in. Is they had that as a TV show in the first episode. It was kind of interesting how they did that. And then there was the astronaut one. Then there was the last one was Demon 79. What was the fourth one? What was the fourth one? Yeah, everybody liked the paparazzi one the most. Oh, the paparazzi one. That was the fourth one. I actually liked that one. I actually did like that one. I didn't have a problem that it was kind of went into a horror thing because none of it was super horror-ish. I did like the paparazzi one. I wasn't expecting it to turn out that way. Season 4, I stopped about right there. That's about where I stopped. I stopped after they take Paris. There's the battle for Paris or whatever. And then there's a scene where Ragnar has like a vision of him in a door. Something like that. So he's having like some kind of like a drug sequence. That's what I like to call, shit that doesn't make any sense to me. It's a drug sequence. And that's where I left off. And I'm not really sure where the heck that was, but it was somewhere in there. You saw the funniest video today on YouTube. A Japanese woman model builder is building a 1/350th Japanese aircraft carrier from World War II, and the box is nearly as tall as she is. Last thing you remember is Ragnar going into the pit of snakes. Things just got too goofy, yeah. And we didn't even make it to the other episode where there's a black Viking queen, right? Isn't that tied in? Okay, if you guys hear a bunch of background noises, the kids are in the other room, so hopefully I don't have a problem with the voices being in the background. Hopefully it doesn't bother you guys too much. It's either that or we don't do a show, so sorry about that, but hopefully they don't watch a movie or something like that that has copyrighted material and get me in trouble. But which are these? These are the readers? No, we need the more powerful ones. Yeah, things just got too goofy. These people that write this stuff, they're on some drugs. And unless you're on the same drugs, stuff just doesn't make sense. Some stuff just doesn't make sense. It was like my daughter was watching. Said she wanted to go see some new Spider-Man movie. It's like, there's a new Spider-Man movie? I said, yeah, it's the animated one. I'm like, oh, well, I didn't watch the first one because it has to do with like multiple universes and shit like that. And I'm like, nah, that's a little too weird. That's a little too like anything goes. Yeah, I don't know where I left off with Vikings, but I didn't hate it. It was just like, some stuff is just really, really slow. I did watch a movie this week at lunchtime, and when I was done with it, I'm like, why did I even bother watching this? Because It really wasn't worth watching. And it's like, and it just had too many famous people in it. It was like they were just trying too hard. That happens a lot. Things that try too hard. What was it? American Hustle. It was on. I'm like, okay, well, I'll check that out. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to get those 2 hours back. I've just gotten to the point where I don't really care for watching movies. And I'm certainly not going to a movie theater and watching them. So, a plastic card you're using for the bases, that material good for basing? Yeah, I think it's readily available. They have it at Hobby Lobby. It's relatively inexpensive. It's white, unfortunately. But so you got to paint over a little bit. But it's relatively inexpensive. You can cut it whatever size you want. It's kind of an interesting material in that it's kind of it has an odd consistency. I don't even know how to describe it. Maybe it's a little oily. You know, it is similar to the plastic that Plastic Soldier Company uses. It's got some. It's kind of oily, so to speak. I don't mean that in a bad way, but it doesn't. It's just hard to describe. I recommend it. This happens to be the thicker one, which I think is 0.2, or maybe it's 0.3. I don't remember, but this is what I'll be getting again for the larger vehicles. But I got to go back and do this dark brown edging on them because I liked how it turned out. So now I got to go back and redo all the vehicles. And I'm not going to do that right now, but you know. I'll check in a second. I think I kept the package. I think to make 0.2 and 0.3, I wanted to get something that was close to the other one that I was using. So, but it's relatively thick, but I kind of like it because I want these things to look like a playing piece. You know, other people are like, oh, why are you putting your vehicles on a base? Does it stand up to say Litco bases? Yeah, it's probably equivalent to the 1.5 mil Litco base. It's not metric. Like it may be metric, but it's not described as metric. And you know, for things that are small like this, I prefer to talk about things in metric because it makes sense. You know, I don't want, you know, tenths of an inch or whatever, you know, hundredths of an inch. Let me take a look at the package here in a second. Let's see what we got. That should. I got to remember. Oh, the rinsing thing's over here. It's not back there where I'm in the way of the camera every time. Let's see if I got the package. I tend to keep things longer than I should, not the other way around. Yep. Here it is. Well, I'm totally wrong. I don't know what I'm talking about. Perfect. In this case, it's handy. This is the size that I used. Remember, the Litco bases I normally used are 3 mil. Let's make sure I don't run this across that and we have a different type of problem. Of course, I grabbed the edge, but... So that would be 0.08 of an inch thick, 2 mil. So, yeah, this is like perfect. It's perfect. I'm really happy with it. And it's $3.99, $4, and you get one sheet. That's the only thing. But you know, you see how much painting I do for one sheet. It's like, oh, $4 for a sheet. I said, yeah, but how much painting are you doing for that $4? You know, it has no flex in it, so I'm really happy with it. All right, so here are the 2 KVs. They're all nice and flat. How large? They are, let me guess, 6 by 9, 6 by 10. It doesn't say, but it's about 6 by 10. Yeah, it doesn't say on here. Yeah, and I've got part of one, but I don't have the whole thing. Yeah. I recommend this. You're waiting for a package from Regular Miniatures. Hope the turnaround and shipping times don't take forever. I lose momentum in the project and have to wait too long. Yeah, that happens to me too. That happens to me too. All right, we're going to move these guys off to the side. I'll be right back. I'm going to get a refresher, and we will do some Soviet trucks. We'll do some Soviet trucks, and after I put this stuff away. I could totally see spraying all 6 of those. And Pegasus, one thing I was about to say, Pegasus Hobbies makes I was going to say the Rutabaga trucks. No, the Studebaker trucks from, I believe they're Studebaker trucks, from Pegasus for the Soviets. So I wouldn't mind having a couple of those. I know that Noble Knight sells those. And those can go with these Walton's type vehicles, these Model A's. That's why I wanted to do those unboxings, because I wanted to put some of the stuff together, but I really didn't want to put together and then do the unboxing afterwards. So this is what we're going to work on next, and I will be right back. All right. Let's see what we got here. Oh, snap. I lost that. I lost momentum of AWI. Not sure I'm having a motivation problem. Reporting for duty, comrade. Ready and willing to assist in the construction of fine Soviet trucks for our glorious Red Army. Yep. Okay, so Sumerians. I wish Plastic Soldier Company made honeys. I mean, I wish that Noble Knight had the honeys for them. 'Cause I'm itching to do some honeys. All right. Caution, contains small parts. Children under 12 to use under adult supervision only. Please retain address for future reference. What, to sue them or something? Okay. For guidance only. I just don't know if I can't make them all the dual axle ones. Because I think I'd be tempted to do them. It looks so much better with dual axles. It's 6 screws. Let's just look at one screw. And I think we just have to trial and error it. I think let's cut all the parts that are for the AAA and build us a AAA. Build us a AAA truck. AAA, that's anti-aircraft artillery. Anytime I see that, that's what I think of. Okay. So, we need the piece 23 is the AAA chassis. Oh, I see. They're not exactly the same screws. I see, said the blind man. Okay, that's a single axle. That's a double axle. That's a double axle. That's a double axle. That's a single axle. Okay, I gotta make them as what they are. Okay, fair enough. Well, I don't have to decide that. Its decision's done for them. Okay, so we'll do a single axle one first. Okay. All right, so this is, yeah, it throws me off. Is here these are snapped in half. Here they're shown as both of them together, but it's actually two different ones. Okay, so this is the double A1 chassis piece 1, which is this one right here. Let's cut that piece out. And this is going to go like this, and this is going to go like this. All right. That is, the rear floor is piece 2, which is what the hell is piece 2? Oh. Well, that's the back deck. Don't talk about my deck. Okay. Side panel is 3. And 4. Okay. We're going to trim these people. We're going to test fit everything. We don't want a mistake that we have to fix. We can fix it, but why not do things right the first time? I tell you what, I was skeptical of doing my really ancient Bronze Age army, and then when I did it, I was really happy with how they turned out. What rules do you use? You're not a DVA player, are you? Damn near flash free. Okay. And then we need the sides to this. Uma Thurman, the city-state. Make sure you get the flag right. Oh, that's right, there's no flags. Damn it. All right, we need the cab portions to go together, including the front. Should have just looked at the drawing. I'm brain dead after a day of work. This week has been brutal. Okay, and the two side thingies. And the back, which is this one. I kind of like that the windows are solid. I don't have to paint anything on the inside. Please tell me all the tires are the same, because I gotta make that decision then. Might be a little tricky. I bet there's gonna be extra tires. Alright, let's clean all this stuff up. Let's get a piece of sandpapier. The little-known city-state that I've forgotten its name, but it was a thorn in the side of the Assyrians until they made lampshades out of them. Lagash sounds like the name of an orc. Hey, you weren't on here last night, were you, Nordic? Were you out celebrating Barbarossa Day? It was Kevin's birthday. He came on here. I wished him a happy birthday, and he promised he'd come on today to tell me the punchline. The punchline of his joke. Yeah, there's so little known about that stuff. I'm bad at telling stories. I just don't know when to tell the details about stuff. That's the problem, is I'm explaining something to somebody, and I sometimes don't understand at what point I need to start telling the story. Well, I can't be good at everything. Microworld might be doing a 3 Kingdom 6mm line. Cool. Like, heroic 3 Kingdom, or just like the real 3 Kingdom? I streamed right after you left. Actually, fighting Battle Quattrobot, Lightning Gaming Table, and waited until left there at 9, didn't pop on. Yeah, it happened. I was on a little later than I wanted to be. It wasn't until like after 9 that I actually got to do something I wanted to do yesterday. It was go do this, go do that. I had to go take my daughter to a friend's house, and that's what threw off the time. Oh well, you didn't miss anything. Or, you could just watch it if you really wanted to, but I don't think that's your thing. Uh-oh. Is this Flash or not? I don't think it is. I don't think that one is. Let me look at the front drawing. It is not. That's probably the horn. Okay, cool. You're struggling to find Assyrian armored cavalry riders, not one-piece castings. You mean that look worth a damn? Because Chariot, I think chariots are two-piece, but they look weird. They look really wonky. Really wonky. I've got the museum ones. Not sure if you're aware, but you building these kits is just a downsize of 1/35th scale model building. Okay, if you think so. I don't want to build 1/35th scale models because you don't do anything with them. If you play a war game with them, yeah, maybe that's okay too. They're super expensive though. They're like freaking $60 and shit now. I remember when an expensive one was $30. This stuff looks a hell of a lot better than my 1/35th scale stuff ever did. I got more tools, I got more experience, I got more ideas from folks posting stuff on the internet. We all can help each other out. You know, when I was doing 1/35th scale models, I had that book by Shepard Payne. You know which one I'm talking about, How to Build Dioramas or whatever. Have that, and I had an article from Fine Scale Modeler 1989. I found it the other day. A guy named Tony, is it Tony Ireland? The article here. And this guy was like the master. You know, back in the day. You know, now there's, you know, people that do much better jobs. I was just here the other day. Let's see. Shit, here's another thing I could have given to I hate that when you find something you're not even looking for it, and then when you go and try to find it again, it's not around. This is an article. This is an issue that somebody left for me. Here it is. What's this guy's name? This was tip of the sword back in 1989. Painting World War II German armor. Another guy that has a fetish for Panzer stuff. He's a Tony something or other. That's what I remember. You tend to remember things that people that have your same name. Grand opening store in New York City. But that place closed. See if I can find the article here. Tony Greenland. Not a chip to be seen. Oh, I gotta be careful. There's some crooked spider shit here. Alright. I'm not showing the whole one there. What is that, a Panzer III or a 4? Panzer III. Oh, that's a Panzer IIIN, my favorite. Not. Yeah, he's just got some rust weathering. And here we go. We'll cover up that air recognition one. Look at that 222, 232. That's a sexy beast. Tony Greenland. Using chalk powder. Yeah, here it is. Using chalk powder. That's what we used to do. So, what did I just get a notification for? Let's see what we got here. Hetzer. Hetzer doesn't look too impressive. This Panzerwerfer 42, though, that's not too far from the way I paint things with little rivets popping up. I don't know. This Brumbar, oh man, this guy's got a thing for those crooked spiders. Look at this Brumbar. That's a nice looking Brumbar. Lagertha. Yeah, you have to give me credit for it. Hey, that's a good name for it. Oh, look what's on the next page. Handheld motor tools. And the reason I say that is I've got a Dremel one that I got. Oh, I wasn't supposed to tell you that. I stole my own thunder. Yeah, well, I'm gonna do a. I haven't messed with it on purpose. I got to clean my area in the garage, which that's one of my goals this weekend. I've got one of those handheld Dremel things that you can work with a pedal, so you can get it going really slow, because all of those things move way too fast for what we need them for. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually looking for a 221. A 221, which is just one of these with a machine gun. You know, really shitty. I'm going to call it Mimi. Gotta have a shitty little name. Sorry if your grandmother's named Mimi or something like that. No disrespect. It just sounds like a sissy weapon. Pastels. Yeah, we'd take the old sandpaper to the pastels, get some on there, and we put them on there, and then fix it with a spray. That stuff looked like crap compared to the stuff that's available now. Let's make sure we got all the pieces, parts here. We got this hole, right? This is gonna go here. Okay, these parts are all ready to go. Let's trim up the back here. Yeah, this weekend couldn't get here soon enough. So yeah, we got a game day tomorrow that I'm not going to attend, as they're playing Flames of War, and I'm just not going to play Flames of War. They're just wasting my time, you know? You know what I'd really love to build and paint? A British tank in North Africa with that counter scheme of 135th with a diorama base. Yep. I can't wait to do one of these with the desert stuff, because I really like the way my desert stuff turned out over 15 mil. I'm just going to do it the same way. It's going to look stellar. So, yeah. That's what I want to do. Yeah, I don't blame you. Just make sure you use the right counter, not the one that we used to think as kids that was, you know, using light blue. There's no light blue in counter. Look at the back of this. You know the first thing I think of when I see the back of this? It's like, oh, I guess I won't get to see the Amish this year. It looks just like one of their buggies. So I'm not going to Historicon. Oh, man. And I got some more of this stuff coming in the mail on Sunday. Because I watched that video where you pulled this thing out, and I did that, and then I fucked up the tip on it. So I got a tip that's kind of wonkish, but it'll work. I'm kind of low on this anyways. Alright, so let's put this in here first. Okay, it runs on the edge. Okay. Put that on the edge. And somebody else saw a video say, you can make this your own stuff and you can use these chemicals. I'm like, yeah, I ain't got time for that. You know, we're not going through that much glue. You know, it's not like glue's ammunition or something like that where you got to reload your own glue. Okay. Amish are nice folk. I've never had a run-in with one. There's a noisy one here. And the wife's cleaning out the closet, which is that way on that door, and then we got 7 head of kids, teenagers watching TV, or so. If it's noisy, well, I'm sorry, I don't live alone. Those days are over. That's the 90s. Oh, this thing is cute. This thing's cute and ugly at the same time. We were at the gym the other day, and my daughter goes, "Hey, look, look." She was like pointing out that we were both on the walking thing, treadmill, whatever the hell it's called. And it was like a 57 Chevy, and they're just ugly vehicles, you know. I think the cars from the 50s are ugly. The cars from the 60s look better. You know, the difference between the 60s, the 50s and the 60s is the cars in the 50s look worse, but the stuff people wore in the 60s look worse. You know? Like people in the 50s wore like normal stuff, so degreed. 60s started getting things started going sideways. Oh, this is weird. It attaches on the side here, but on the top here. I can't think of a single car from the 1950s that I find attractive. There's some from the 40s, and there's lots from the 60s, but man, the 50s vehicles are just weird. Okay. And I guess you could cut out these windows, but then you got to detail an interior. And then if you detail the interior, then you got to put drivers in there. And then you got to have a driver in there when there's nobody. Nah, I'm not interested in that. I'm just not interested in that. All right, and then we're going to put the roofage on it. When we do the early morning session, there won't be all this noisage. You know, it's got a fair amount of detail that ought to turn out nicely with some dry brushing and so forth, weathering. Okay, we got to do some undercarriage stuff now. Yeah, I've got a fair amount of. I think 3 Opel Blitz trucks built, and probably another 3 or 4 that I got from that sale last year that are already pre-built to repaint. So I don't mind having a bunch of Soviet ones too. Once you build the trucks, makes you think back finally painting 15mm quad tractors. Those things are cute. For a Royal Horse Artillery Battery of North Africa when I played Flames of War in 2007, 2009. Yeah, those quad tractors are cute. They really are. I don't really know what kind of seating arrangements they'll have in there. I think they can, fit 4 people, right? 2 up front, 2 in the back. It's a good-looking vehicle. It's a good-looking vehicle. All right, we're going to set this thing on its top. Oh, look, it's got a couple punch marks there. We won't be filling those in. I don't think that's going to be very noticeable. Pretty certain no one will know. But now I told you, so you'll know there's these marks on the bottom that I didn't fill in. You'll lose sleep at night. Back when I used to build models, there was a guy that would come by frequently. And I really liked him. He's actually pretty cool for a nerd burglar. And we gotta be careful. we got to be careful because we're going into territory that, because I was building this as the single axle one, but here's another thing for another axle, and that shouldn't be there. All right, what's the other vehicle look like? Okay, this has the axle already pre-built on it. This one does not. What the hell is this little axle for? Oh, that's the front tires. Okay, what are you supposed to do with this piece then? Just leave it there? Maybe a tire goes underneath there. I bet that's what it is. A spare tire goes underneath there. Okay. Well, if I have my doubts, I'm not going to move it in. Because, I have to tear it apart and fix it. They've actually never been this loud before, so. Okay, this goes like this. Okay, fair enough. And then we need managed to get a new weapon in my paintbrush arsenal. I finally picked up a round makeup brush to use for dry brushing. Aren't they too big? I mean, I guess if you're dry brushing a big area, I just don't see the value in them for me to get them. I just have so many other brushes, and I could see if I didn't have any, but I got so many. Okay, it looks like this faces the back. Well, we got to put this one first anyway, so let's make sure. Marcus, there we go. I do have a full house, so like I said earlier, if you guys hearing all this hollering in the background, there's a room full of teenage kids the next room over, so. Won't be a problem next year because, or later this year, because the daughter's going away to college, so. Whatever they're doing, they're actually pretty quiet. It's the exclamations. But they're playing Jackbox. I'll go over there and stomp them, join their game and stomp them into the ground. That's a fun game if you guys never played that. One of those games you actually use your phone as a controller. So you get like 8 or 9 different people playing it. All right, that goes here. This piece, gotcha, goes like that. Yeah, I was just looking at that magazine. There was an ad for a hobby store. It was opening in 1989 in New York City. I'm pretty sure it closed already. I don't think it survived. What was the name of the place? $6.50 for a 1/72 scale model. Ace Hobbies. Here it is, Ace Hobbies. Grand opening, New York City, 35 West 31st Street, third floor between 5th and Broadway. That's not too far from the Empire State Building. It's like 3 blocks south. Yep, that place is closed for sure. By the way, just got your copy of GMT's Flying Colors from the Southern Cross Naval game. Looks intriguing. Pretty hectic week, but I'm on to my hobbies for the weekend, working on some DAC. Anybody buy anything from that sale from Painting Panzers was offering those AB figures with no shipping charges, free shipping? I didn't. I waited way too long. You used to go there. I didn't realize you've been in the city that long. Yeah. That train store was insane. That's the tightest store I've ever been in. Whatever it was called, that train store there that's near, what would it be? Broadway and 50-something. That's the tightest store I've ever been in my entire life. You had like nobody's in the same aisle with you, and you have to walk in sideways. Okay, so this is the one with the single axle. Okay, cool. So let's look at those small numbers. Where is the front wheels? 8 and 9. 8 and 9 are these two by themselves. These are what they consider to be the front wheels. Okay, so let's put them there. It's taken a little longer to build than I thought, but got nowhere to be. Red Caboose, man, it's a tight place. And then the other place, what was the other one? The Complete Strategist? They had a little bit of everything there. There were some strange folks in there. But they actually had some pretty cool games. I think Nordic would have liked that place quite a bit. There's quite a few board games in there. Unusual stuff. You know, unusual like war game board games. Man, that was an expensive trip, though. That cost more than a freaking cruise. But I can't wait to go back. I wouldn't want to go there unless it was cold, though. I encountered one hobby store in Connecticut, and they had a shitload of models, but it was all 1/35th scale. I mean, they had a great selection. Of course, the place smelled like an ashtray. They were actively smoking in there, which is something that we all used to deal with. But man, that's like a foreign thing. Now, the nice thing is these are pretty robust, so you can actually sit this on its tires, and it's not going to be like all like bent at a funny angle. Your favorite is Jan's Hobby Shop on the Upper East Side. The owner does model shifts with motors and he sells on a Central Park. Oh, I never heard about it. Damn it, I'll have to go back. Next weekend I'm going to Miami, and that's at least what the plan is. So if it changes, like I said, it didn't go according to plan. But that's what I'm supposed to be doing, and I looked today to see if there was any hobby stores left alive, and there's supposedly one around the corner. We'll see if they have any 1/72nd scale stuff. I did go to their website, and it showed that they had an SDKFZ 7, a 7 or a 9 from Revell. So I go check it out. If they have one of those, I might pick it up. There's something to be said for walking in a store and walking out with something, you know? That's how things used to be, and it's like, yeah, you kind of take those things for granted. Impulse buying. Okay, so we're going to have 2 tires on there. And that is, these are 8 and 9. So now we've got 11, 12, 14, 15. Is that the ones that go with them? 11, 12, inner wheel, 14, 15, outer wheel. Okay, got it. So that's, so 16 is the spare wheel. So 16 is, which is this one, is that wheel that goes underneath back there. That's got to be what it is. It just fits underneath there. Seems believable. Very little flash on these models. Very, 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 very little flash. Pretty amazing. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Plastic Soldier Company. You know, my biggest gripe with them is they seem to have a problem here in the United States getting their product out to consumers. It's hard to find people that have them. Maybe that's not the case in jolly old England, but it does seem to be the case. I don't have a problem that some of their kits are the wrong shape. Some people have a problem with the Panzer IIIs being a little wide. They are. It doesn't bother me that much, you know. They make up for it in many other ways. I think they're priced pretty well. They have 0 flash. And I'm generally pretty happy with them. So what I did is, what I've done, since I knew I was going to do a trade, I went ahead and put anything I could potentially be interested in my cart at Noble Knight. Because it's easy to find that. Like if I'm going through there and I'm like, I wonder what they have by such and such. It's like, oh, this is a potential thing I could get. So I just put it in my cart. You want to have an idea how much dollar amount is in my cart right now? And keep in mind, I only have one of I don't have multiple of anything. It's over $1,000 worth of stuff. Obviously, I'm not going to get $1,000 worth of stuff, but it's all there to get it. You know, so it's easy to just, okay, remove. Gaho here in Salt Lake City has the kits you're working. Gaho. What the hell does Gaho stand for? Well, I can't wait to go back to Utah. Utah was just absolutely gorgeous. We had a great time in Utah. We had a great time in Utah. Got nothing bad to say about that place. It's got to be like that. That goes to the inside. Yeah. It's got to be like that. Gaho sounds like something you'd call something. You stupid Gaho. There's only 3 U.S. PSC distributors. Okay, I've seen some at Hobby Bunker. Noble Knight and Gaho. Is that the 3? Brookhurst Hobbies has some of their stuff. It was the name initials of the original owner. It used to sell collections of miniatures online. Hobby Bunker has the damn honeys. But I don't have a credit with Hobby Bunker. You know? Of course, I could just hold on to my credit for them to come out, but I am not going to do that. Next thing you know, they don't want to honor it or something. I don't know. I'm not in a hurry to build any of the stuff that I'm going to get, but I'm going to go ahead and get that in my hot little hands. One must be Michigan Toy Soldier. That's where I buy PSC, but I also order direct from the US. Probably not. Budget board games just got smaller since your heart surgery. As much as I want to get a game, I'm not going to get any games. I just don't have it in. I'm just not interested in reading rules anymore. I got to save all my energies for this. I've just come to the realization that I'm not falling for my own shit anymore. I'm like, I'm just gonna, I just pretend myself that I bought it. Do I want to read the rules? No. Okay, well then why am I even, why am I even doing that? Well, that's this. Now we have this platform to put down, which I don't see how it attaches. Like I said, I don't see how this obviously attaches. Okay, maybe like so. Okay. All right. Back when I used to do World War II, everything I got was from Brookhurst. They imported so many things I was interested in, and they got out of it. I mean, they're still in business, but I mean, they used to have everything. Everything. We did a lot of business with them. Man, I got a bad feeling about this, Sarge. It looks unidirectional. I'll tell you what, we're not going to attach this yet. We're going to do the sides and this first. All right. These go every which way. Okay, cool. All right, we'll glue these long sides first. It's like the thing is the same in both directions, but it doesn't sit centered. Well, it's some shitty ass Soviet construction, so. Yeah, he just calls them end panel or side panel, so there's no rhyme or reason to it. You just heard Salt Lake City will have its first historical miniature game conventions in the 1990s. Your club is presenting a War of the Roses game. That's cool. Yeah, we didn't really go to Salt Lake City though. We went to Park City. So, not that we ski or anything. We went for the snow stuff. Okay, so this has two sides. One of them is like it sits in more than the other. there's no way that, well, there is a way. Let me, before it's permanently set in place, let's flip these and see if that makes a difference. How it fits. It does. That's how it needs to be. Well, I would suspect it doesn't tell you to do that. Do it a certain way. All the pieces are called the same, and they look like they're equal, but they're not. Again, this is where having experience comes in handy. It's weird to have something that's so precise and then all of a sudden it doesn't line up. There we go. Yes, these trucks are from the recent unboxing. Went to the kitchen to make something easy, ended up making a huge meal. That's a problem I never have. I don't cook, so. Yeah, you didn't even get a chance to comment on that astronaut episode. Did you like that episode? Definitely not how I would have written it. Perfect. Oh, we'll just test fit it before we do it again. Both sides are the same. There's no lift gate. There's no gate on a Russian truck. You go where they tell you. And if you don't like it, well, tough titi. Yeah, that's why I need to do the unboxings, because I wanted to build these guys, but I didn't want to build them and, oh yeah, by the way, here's an unboxing. And I also didn't want to build them and then show the finished thing. It's like, you can only do so much. I don't think I'm going to glue the canopy down. I'm not going to glue it right now, anyways. And then we'll set one of these next to an Opel Blitz and see how they compare. Now, the trucks I really don't like is I really don't like those Steyr trucks. Those are really ugly. Your third patrol, you sent a Japanese escort carrier bottom of the sea, slammed 3 torpedoes into it. Beyond the sea was a little long, but I enjoyed it. I don't know about the beginning. The guy's family just died in a normal way. I don't know. That part didn't bother me. Again, there's a situation where just having a firearm in your house could have saved your entire family's life. I'm just saying, I'm a big fan of firearm safety, but, somebody breaks into your house and they outnumber you. Anyhow, so the family gets murdered. I don't like seeing innocent people get murdered, but it happened, And that's totally like the Manson killers went in there and did shit like that. And, say the guy didn't want to go and do vengeance. Okay, it doesn't make any sense to me, but that's what I would have done. How many women are on the planet? Why you gotta mess with somebody's wife, man? There's a first problem. And then, if you really care for her, why would you do that? It just doesn't make any sense. Now this is interesting, because does it go like this? With it open? That's kind of cool. That's really pretty cool. One firearm for the guy who's probably ex-military. Yeah. I don't believe in, being a vigilante with firearms, but they break into your house. It's your job to defend your family. I'm sorry, it is. And he was willing to, but that's what it's for. You know, people break into my house with the intent of harming my family. I will do my best to try to kill every fucking one of them. I didn't go to their house. That's your job, man. You gonna leave any truck beds? I don't think I'm gonna glue these things down. I think they can just be interchangeable. I don't have a problem with it. You also think after such a brutal murder, why wouldn't NASA cancel the mission? Obviously, the astronaut is putting his and other lives at risk. Yep. Well, they didn't say it was NASA. Maybe it's not NASA in another world. You know, I like the idea, you know, other than the ending and what this guy turned out to be, a major dirtbag. I actually liked the episode. It was well done. I liked the time period that they did. And they tied it in. I'm like, it's like it's supposed to be 1968. And there they are watching Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I'm like, that's pretty cool. You know, they did that whole tie-in. It was well done. And, there's lots of things that I liked about it. I just didn't like I don't know. Okay, so here we have our little truck. Let's go grab an Opel Blitz. Let's go grab a Blitzy. Now this guy is 176 scale. And I had a big dilemma when I was putting this thing together. I didn't know what color to make the tarp. I didn't want to do something brown and it would clash terribly with the gray. I think what I came up with actually works pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it. So, yeah. Nice looking little vehicle. Now, I don't know how you're supposed to carry 10 guys in there. With vodka, we all become huggers. All right. Well, in typical fashion, let's build one with the double axles now. We're going to build all these things. We're going to spray them. We're going to spray them all. So. All right. Well, see, in my game, you can hop in one of these things and run people over. That's the kind of game it is, A truck could be a deadly weapon. Now, how much rifle fire can one of them take before it's kaput? Inquiring minds and all that. The suspension on this, though, is rock solid compared to just about any other truck. Just about any other truck, it would just be all flimsy and shit. If it was like an Eshy truck, that Airfix truck is flimsy as crap. The suspension. This is how you make a truck. Plastic Soldier Company. But I won't be getting the Steyr German truck, so they're just butt-ass ugly. I do like some of the Mercedes cab versions for the Opel Blitz, but I got so many Opel Blitzes, I don't need any. I mean, I got probably like 8 trucks all told. That's a plenty. That's plenty for the Germans anyways. Comrades. That's the thing. I will not have any slogans on my tanks that say "for Stalin." I'm not going to do that. I put it aside for a while. It's going to involve. It'll be the next building. I'm done with it. I wanted to This is a little bit more liberating. You know, I don't have to have it done by a certain show. Perfect. Yeah, I'm not going to have any vehicles that have pro-Stalin slogans. Just like I don't have any pro-Hitler German slogans either. You know? I mean, both of them, both of those guys were short little mustache shitheads. All both of them. I also seem to get somewhere in painting vehicles. Yep. Yep, that's exactly it. I'm just enjoying it, you know. I don't have a problem building these things, and then they're ready to go. I got, you know, whenever I go and decide to spray them, and it's fun. It's like putting stuff together with Legos, I guess. Right, Rick? I even so I went and I contacted Noble Knight and I said, hey, here's the thing, I got the price. I'd like to get a price on it. It took them a long time to get back to me, but they did. And honestly, I did it from like lunchtime or something, so I wasn't looking exactly at the sets that I had. And I basically told them that I had booster sets. I misremembered what I had. I did not have the booster sets for for the Wings of War. I actually had the starter set. I had 2 starter sets. The revised deluxe edition, I think is what it's called, and then the Famous Aces one. So I'm like, hey, you know, I don't have this one set, but I have the Famous Aces. And I'm telling you, one of the hardest things I had to do was I had 4 sets of the Wings of War stuff. Okay, I had Famous Aces. I had the revised deluxe, which has actual miniatures in it. I had Watch Your Back, and I had the Drakens, Flaming Drakens, or whatever the hell it's called, the big planes, the bomber one. But I had bought them, and I had undone them all, and I put all the cards in one place. So then I had to go through, I think it was Monday night, and I'm literally looking in the bottom corner of each card. It tells you what set everything comes from, and I spent a long time putting it together, but I made sure every single piece was accounted for, and I knew it was because I'm really careful with stuff, and I only played it twice, and you know, sorted everything and put it right back in the box where it went. But that was kind of a chore. But it's like, if you don't do that, they're not going to give you anything for it, because they're not going to sit there and sort through things and hope to God that you have the right things in there. So I'm like, it was kind of fun to do. I kind of got in a rhythm and was talking to myself, sitting at the dining room table doing that. And but it was just one of those things that, man, you know, I created a hell of a lot of work for myself. So anyway, so I sent him a note after I packaged it. I'm like, hey, listen, I don't have this set. I have this other one instead. And by the way, I went ahead and sent you some other stuff too, that I didn't tell them to get a price on. So hopefully they're fair with me. I think they have been the whole time. It just gets to the point where there's just some stuff I just don't want to see anymore. You know, I've had it so long, I don't want to see anymore. I even had 2 Osprey books that I sent them to them. There's a couple of Osprey books that I have on the Samurai. They're really thick and they're really vacuous. They don't tell you anything. They don't give you the kind of details on this. You know, Samurai stuff is weird. Like, Osprey books on the Samurai are just terrible. There's a lot of like dancing around things, but the specifics to stuff and battles, it just isn't there. So I'm like, I was tired of looking at those 2 things on my bookshelf. I don't know if I get $2 for each. That's fine. I just wanted to get them out of here. I'm just ready to start purging. So, you don't like the Russians, but I don't have a problem playing as the Russians. Hell, if someone gave me one of their furry caps to wear playing World War II Russians, I would. I agree completely. I agree completely. I just I just don't want any pro style on this stuff on my tanks. You know. He looks goofy too. Just like Hitler. Goofy looking bastard. You like collecting the Warhammer Ancients battle books. I got 5 or 6 of them. Didn't give them to sell. Yeah, they're great. They're beautiful. They're beautiful books. Beautiful books. I've got the El Cid one. I've got the Byzantine one. I've got the Punic Wars one and the Art of War Chinese one. And I got them as inspiration to paint some of those armies. I'm never going to play their game, but they're beautiful. The one thing that I bought, and they offered me more money than I paid for it, was the Force on Force rules. I got it 10 years ago with the intent of doing some modern stuff. I'm never going to get around to doing it. I never am. I'd go back and do ancients before I do modern stuff. And I didn't really like the rules. And the rules are too beautiful. They're just, the rule book is just too nice to use. I'm going to destroy that beautiful book just trying to play their rules. And I have a problem with that. I like being careful with books. That's the last time I traded with them. They told me it was going to be $150. And I'm like, all right, I'll send you this stuff. And then by the time it was done, they said, no, we changed our mind. We decided to give you $200. That's pretty freaking honorable. That's some honorable shit. So I don't know that that happens to everybody, but maybe they just kind of gave me a low ball price, not really knowing what conditions things were in, because you don't want to tell somebody it's $150 and then they get the stuff and it's like, oh, this isn't the condition we thought it was going to be in. And then to avoid a problem, I think they just need to like tell you a low number. That's the way to do it. So I don't really have anything bad to say about them. I think they've behaved themselves very honorably, and I appreciate that. Other people may not, but I do. It says a lot about their character. Did I like Wings of War? I did, and I played it a fair amount, and I have it on my computer, so if I want to play it, I can play it there. But the stress, it's a beautiful game, and I think I'm going to be stressed out by my local players just getting pizza hands all over the freaking cards and ruining it. And you know, I'm not saying that you have to be totally clean and use hand sanitizer when you're playing the game, but man, don't eat a fucking messy pizza while you're playing with the cards. You know, is that too much to ask? So I'm like, yeah, I'd rather just get rid of it, you know. There's just other things to play. It's not that there's anything wrong in and of itself. There's just other things to play. But that was one of those things, like, I thought it was really cool, and I just decided to get it because I was using monies from other things that I sell. You sleeve all your cards if possible for my games. Yeah. I'm just used to really taking care of shit. I've been dirt poor before, and you know, I don't want to, you know, things cost effort and time, and you don't want to have to rebuy things. But we have a huge games of that old hobby shop before it went out of business. Yeah, I don't know that I got the best price I could have gotten from it, but I'm ready to move it and get something else that I am going to use. I mean, I could have played some of those missions solo and filmed them, but you know, I can't do everything. So if I do that, I'm not doing something else that I'm really interested in. So I mean, I think Gaslands is a better game, and I'm not doing that. So That's the mentality I took with the items I sold in No Lie. Yeah. Well, somebody's going to get a good deal if you got games that are in good shape. So, maybe somebody else will have fun with them. I haven't touched it in 10 years. It's time to move on. Okay, this is the front wheel thing. And let's make sure we cut out the correct front ones. I suspect it'll be these two. Let's take a look. This is this one down here. So the front one should be 30 and 31. And they are. Okay. You use some of your Wings of War planes for strafing Great War 15 World War I. Wrong scale, but looks better than markers. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, like I said, I should be on tomorrow morning. I will not be next weekend. I'm going down to Miami for 4th of July. I've been there in a long time. My wife giving me grief about that. I don't want to go down there. Everybody's an asshole. So much angst down there. Okay, here's the front tires. And does this one have oh, that one doesn't have a spare tire. Let's see. This is 34, 35, 33. What are they considered? Those are considered inner road wheels. Well, why the hell is there 3? Oh, because it's this one. They have a spare tire there. Looks like it. One, two, three, four. Okay. Then these other ones are 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. Okay, these are outer, and the spare. 41 is the spare. So the spare is the one, is this one. Well, where the hell does it go? No, we'll keep it as a spare. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are all the inner ones. Okay, and these are the outers. We'll just leave the spare on there, although they're exactly the same as the other ones. Something important is happening in July. I can't remember what it is. Almost started building a game board for parts the first day of Somme, but never did. It's the anniversary of Kursk in July. Yeah, 43, so this would be, what, 80th? Right? I'm burned out. My brain's burned out. There's a book that came out I saw recently. It was on Amazon. There was something along the lines of, their premise was that the German forces at Kursk didn't take that many losses. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. That's interesting because they ran headlong into freaking prepared positions. And even worse than that, it was like the minefields. The minefields were just a raping for the Germans. Just a raping. Now, something I feel like I'll regret. Anniversary. Though I can't imagine getting married in July. Way too freaking hot. Okay, let's put the wheels on here. Allied landings in Sicily. Anniversary. That's one of those theaters that just isn't. Well, I don't remember how long the Sicily thing lasted. Maybe a couple months. I honestly don't know. What were the German units that were in Sicily? Hermann Goering, the motorized one. Hermann Goering and 15th, right? 15th Motorized Division or something like that? Panzer Grenadier Division. Yeah, if you forget your significant other's birthday and you're relying on us to remind you, you're in hot water already. You're in a world of trouble, my man. 5 weeks, okay. Yeah, I really don't know much about it. Really don't know much about it. Why? Haven't wargamed it. That's how you learn shit. Well, this one's going a lot quicker than the first one. That makes sense. See, speaking of forgot one ship, I wonder if I'm ever going to get my replacement terrain map. Oh, I don't think I'm ever going to see it. I'm going to keep bugging him, though. I'll keep bugging him. You know, all he had to do was tell me to go suck an egg, and then he'd just leave me alone. But he led me on to thinking he was going to make it right. So I take people, you know, I don't say things I don't plan on doing. Go suck an egg. I've just kind of written it off. I did look at faux fur today. I may end up making a terrain mat at some point. I don't know, how bad could it look? Better be better than a lot of things other people did. Because now I have the insight to learn from mistakes other people have done. So I bet I could pull it off. Well, suppose he's gotten lost in the mail twice. Just tell me, fuck you, I'm not going to send it to you. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to make a nasty video about it. It's not worth my time to make a nasty video. And then, like, that's not really what happened. It's not worth it. It just, you know, it's a lot of work to just go through all that. Here we go. This is the side that we need to do. They look almost exactly the same. I think I'm probably going to end up making my own at some point. It's just not a priority. Because honestly, I'd want bigger than 4x6. And the only reason I got that one was because the shipping was free. Now, again, nobody wants to pay for shipping. Yep. Yeah, you can learn a lot from other people. And the other thing you learn a lot is what they're working on ends up looking okay, but at the beginning you're like, this ain't gonna, dude, this is not turning out well. And then, and then they'll straighten you out. I'm like, oh, so even though it looks like this, it'll still turn out how I'm happy with it. Okay, well, that's good to know. And that's, one of those things that you can get really discouraged as a creative person. You think you're on the wrong track and you aren't, and then you end up changing tack and you end up making it worse. So that's one of those things where experience comes in, is you kind of know what the project looks like at every step along the way. You don't get discouraged at the wrong time. You watch Black Magic Craft. Well, that sounds like a seance. For a while, he got real pissy with me over a comment. I stopped watching his stuff. Oh. Well, you are kind of an asshole. I wonder what the comment was. Of course, I'm being facetious on saying that. I don't know, some people just... Oh! Nordic. Wasn't one of the channels that you were telling me to check out was Broadsword something or another? And it came across my feed the other day, and I watched a video that they had about airbrushing, and I'm like, oh, beginning one to airbrushing. Yeah, because I think you told me about it, because it's the redhead that's on it. I'm thinking it's what it is. But anyways, so I'm watching that video, and I'm like, I don't feel like I know very much about airbrushing. But I've done a fair amount of it, and I've learned along the way, and I have a clue, and it's not like I don't know anything about painting. But I'm watching the airbrush video, and I'm like, they're doing so many things wrong. Just right off the bat. First of all, like not spraying on something. Like she was like spraying right on her cutting board. I'm like, no, absolutely not. If I had a place, I'm link you to that Japanese female model builder's channel. I want you to see the amount of photo etch she works on in one video. It's really satisfying to cut photo etch off the frame. I found it very satisfying. I place a store battle map. I do it on this 2x2 form of those sheets, Home Depot. He was painting miniatures, and he has a condition that his hands shake. I told him to brace his hands against the table edge. That will help him when he's shaking, and he flipped on me. Dude, I don't have handshakes. You don't see me doing things in the middle of the air. I don't know how people do it. They'll get that, they'll get that Warhammer painting thing, right? That grip, and they'll be painting in the middle of the freaking air. I can't do it, man. I always have my, and I don't have shakes, thank goodness. But I always have everything braced, and it doesn't move on you, and you don't get tired of it. It's not like stressful. But yeah, some people are just itching for a fight, Oh well. Hot redhead Ciara. I don't know. She's a little young to be saying she's hot, but I don't know. Maybe she's 20. She knows a lot less about airbrushing than I did. So anyhow, I thought that was you that said that. It came across my feed, So I remade the Jesus juice, the stuff that video that, and I never did link it in my video. I talked about it. Sorry. Oh, there I go saying I'm going to do things and I don't do them. But wow, that that stuff makes a big difference. Makes a big difference instead of using water. I mean, after using the primer, the surface primer, boy, I cleaned that shit right out. It was amazing. So, you know, I don't feel like I know very much about airbrushing, but I'm almost ready to like do airbrushing content for people that know less than me. I feel like I've learned a lot in a really short period of time. You know, might have to wait until the weather's a little better. It's hot as shit out there. Look at this cute little thing. Looks a lot better with the double wheels on the back, in my opinion. Yeah, it was okay. There's another video that I came across that had a girl in it, and I think it was her playing Axis and Allies, and she was like way over the top, really overly excited about it, and I'm like, thirst trap. Which is funny because I don't really like these modern. I mean, I don't feel like I'm that old, but I'm in my 50s, but I don't use these newfangled terminology that the punk asses use these days. That's one I actually like. I actually like that saying. Double looks weird. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder how it behaves differently in the game. Yeah, I'd make them all double wheels, but they don't have that on. Look, the reality is I got 3 double. That's 6 trucks. That's plenty. I don't need more than that. Hell, honestly, I'd probably be fine with 3. You know? Okay, next one. Do a single one. Single one, a double one. Single one, a double one. Look, we're a third of the way through. I can't believe Games Workshop sells our painting handle for $18. Yeah, they're just... You know, they want you to throw money at the problem. They want you to throw money at the problem. And you know, I'm not thrifty, but there's some things that you need to save up for that are just going to cost a lot of money, and there's nothing you can do about that. So there's no point in creating more things like that. You know, like I'm a firm believer now that I know you don't buy a cheap airbrush. Go and spend, you know, $150 on an airbrush. Like, okay, you need to spend the money on that. So you don't have to buy, you know, like I didn't get one of those, what do you call those things? The cleaner things? It's like $30 for a thing you spray inside. I just use a freaking box, you know, just clear out the airbrush in a freaking box, and I put some used paper towels in there to soak up some of the moisture. Save yourself $30 freaking dollars. You know, because the reality is if you buy one of those little containers, you're gonna end up trashing it using it. I mean, it's gonna look like shit, you know, because it's got paint and stuff in there. I'm like, you got to cut some corners. So cut the corners you feel comfortable cutting. You know. You don't need a cleaner. Spray in a plastic cup. Exactly. I just use a cardboard box. It's like big because I don't actually. It's not that messy. I mean I use gloves, so don't get shit all over you. But I'm not used to making a mess anyways when I'm working on my hobbies. So she was doing that video though. She was like, I don't really know what I'm doing. At least she admitted like she didn't know stuff, but she's like spraying out in the middle on her plaything and on her mat, and I'm like, what a mess. Again, this mat, I didn't even pay a dime for it. I got it free. Still take care of it. And they're really not that expensive. You can get one for like $10 or something like that. I wanted to get one of those ones. I don't know if you've seen that have like a King Tiger or whatever on them. They got like they make one with like a Sherman or a Sherman or a Panther. They can make a T-34 one as well. I wanted to get one of those, but I'm like, it's just going to be distracting. You know, I'll be like working on some Panther and I'll have a T-34 underneath. It just doesn't really coincide with it. I'm like, yeah, let's just stick with what I have. Got to get going. Okay, man, thanks for coming by. Just like you don't need to buy expensive airbrush cleaner either. Exactly. You know, just buy Lysol all-purpose spray and it works perfect. Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind buying the airbrush cleaner, but I haven't. Actually, I bought the thinner, but I didn't buy it for the airbrush. I bought it for, you know, using this stuff. But then it hurts to just flush that away, you know? It's stupid to be wasteful, you know? You know, it's like you could just as easy throw something away in the garbage can as you can, like, throw it out the window. Why throw it out the window? It's just stupid being wasteful. I think I may have actually fucked up. There's a little center dot here that's actually looks like it's supposed to be a dot and not straight across. I took it off of one of them. Oh well, shit happens. I'm sure there's one that didn't have it on there. Linked you that model builder. Okay, I'll check it out tonight when I'm signed off. Sounds good. You just watched it because she was Asian. I'm not falling for that one. So the model's bigger than her, huh? 350? She's got to be little. Yeah, the Asian persuasion. I'd love to play a naval game in 1/700 scale. You know what kind of detail that game would have to have for models that big? For me, to be satisfied, you'd never get anything done. And you'd have to play in a freaking gym. Yeah, I wonder what happened with a little piece of... I guess it's time to cut out another one. Make the rules and I'll sail the Scharnhorst. She's a sexy beast. The Scharnhorst is very pretty. She wears a full face... Holy Debbie Downer. I'll still watch the video. Not a face mask fan, sorry. Hey, what's the reason that people do these videos and they put on gloves? Do they have like gang tattoos on their hands or something? I've seen that several times. People like wear like black gloves so they don't recognize them. I don't know. I used to have the Scharnhorst in 1/700 scale. I think it was a Tamiya kit. I had that one. I had Rodney. I mean, relatively recently. I mean, like in the 90s I did. Keeps fingerprints off the models? Really? I think it's the gang symbols. They have some tats that would land them in jail if people saw them. I don't know, it just seems extreme. You just can't get much of a purchase on things when you're wearing gloves. I use tweezers a lot, and I don't get the glue fingerprints on things. Sometimes oil on our skin leave fingerprints on model kits will handle them. You think that's how it is? All right, I'll take your word for it. I don't know, I just thought it was kind of awkward. Okay, this is this one here. Finish trimming this off. What time is it? Yeah, it's still kind of early. It's not like I can go to bed. Kids that keep me awake. I'll be right back. You have a 1/700 scale Scharnhorst that's super detailed. Just need to get the courage to build it. I'm afraid I don't have the skills yet to tackle it. I've never done a ship model with photo etch. I haven't. Not because I'm afraid, but there just wasn't a reason to. Didn't come with any. I don't know, it's detailed enough. I got a book on the Scharnhorst, specifically on the Scharnhorst. It's shit. I don't even know who the hell makes it. Let's see, it should be right here. Here it is. Conway Maritime Modeler Series. Battleship Scharnhorst. I always call it battle cruiser. It's got 11-inch guns. A mean battle cruiser. Boy, you get a really detailed game with this. You can tell where all the compartments are, and that's pretty involved. Look at this. Look at this shit. I actually didn't know all this stuff was in here. I guess I gotta make those really detailed rules now. Look at this. Okay, which compartment did you hit? All right, we hit right over. We hit right over in here, and you know, you could do the damage on there. It's like, geez, man, look at this. Look at this stuff. Amazing. Okay, you just need this for like every ship, and then we're good. Wow, it's like the deck plans, deck by deck. That's crazy. I didn't know I had this. Okay, check your arc of fire to make sure that the guns can bear, including all the little ones. Wow. Yeah, there's all kinds of models. I don't even know why the hell I have this. I have no idea why I have this. I mean, it's a beautiful ship. black and white stuff. Nothing super exciting. Nothing you can't find over the internet. Battle of North Cape. That's a fun one to play. Yeah, we just need this kind of detail for all the ships. There's a set of rules out there. It's a free set of rules. I said I'm a fan of Secret because it's really detailed. But there's another set of rules that I came across that are free. And I tinkered with them a little bit. You have it because it's damn cool, yeah. I got some cool stuff that I've collected along the years. There's a set of rules. I want to say it was a site that was called Free War Game Rules UK or something like that. It was a internet-based site. I think it's still out there. And this one guy came up with these set of rules, these naval set of rules, that were really, I thought they were really unique. They weren't the most detailed set of rules ever, but they weren't vague. And they kind of focused on things from a different perspective. And the set of rules is called Fire on the Water. And yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what was unique about them is that they were unfinished. Okay. Like the rules were finished, but like all the ship data wasn't finished. Well, I'm a lover of things that are ship data. That's easy to figure out. But the way you handled it was, you'd roll for a hit location and you would have this side view of the ship and it would give you these compartments. And, obviously the compartments weren't the size that they were on the Scharnhorst one because you would have 1 million compartments then. But there was some number of them, and obviously the bigger the ship is, the more compartments you had. And you would check basically for the damage to the stuff that was physically in that compartment and also flooding for it. So it handled flooding really interesting, that if you had a chance to flood something, you would actually, knock it out. So it was very physical the way it handled things, and you could actually physically see what was happening to the vessel while you were playing it. It wasn't just arbitrary 80 points of damage or something like that. All right, well now I got to take a look at that picture you sent me. So it was really kind of unique the way that this person came up with it, and I played it a couple times, and all right, what do I do here? I need to add the old Facebook. Let's see what we got here. Come on. Let's check here. Let's see what you sent me. Oh, here's the Asian girl. I haven't gotten the photo etch thing yet. I'll keep an eye out for it. Didn't send it yet. Okay. We'll check it out in a bit. I'll check out those two visions of the two videos of the rather large aircraft carrier. I'm not a fan of the Pacific War, but there's some Pacific ships that are kind of cool. I had a fair number of them in 1/2400 scale because all of my friends and many of my friends at the time I don't want to play unless there's Americans in it. Okay, moron. So I don't mind doing the Guadalcanal stuff or the ABDA stuff. Start getting into 44 and it just kind of becomes an exercise and getting your ass beat as the Japanese. Doesn't necessarily make it a very fun endeavor. All right, and then we got the, should be posted now. All right, let's go looky. Oh. Hadn't gotten it yet. I'll take a look in a little bit. I've seen many of your videos. It seems to really like doing Japanese World War II ships. She's working on the Yamato. Yeah, most of the Japanese ships are actually pretty attractive looking, to be honest with you. The longest naval game I ever played was a Pacific What If, and the what if was that there was a, during the Battle of Midway. That was a Southern force. There was another force that went after the Aleutian Islands and landed, and it was basically, we took the forces that went up there, if they actually would have encountered some Americans or what Americans were available, and that's the battle that we did. So we had a couple battleships on each side, and it was a good battle. Lasted 26 hours. Was bored for a second. Would never do that again. Nobody has time for that. But it was a good time. Went through a hell of a lot of soda. Playing that. Okay. These are the front tires, so let's cut those jokers off. Yeah, I think the Japanese aircraft carriers look pretty cool. Hey, Justin, what's happening? Building some Soviet trucks. Trotsky Sovietsky. Let's see. Ha, you're not wearing gloves. You've given yourself away. You have at least a thumb. Oh yeah, it looks pretty involved, man. That's 1/700 scale? Flyhawk. Yeah, I've heard of them. That's pretty involved. So whatever's in the middle, that looks, is that replacement barrels? Holy smokes. German battleship Scharnhorst. Oh man, they got stuff that goes around the freaking funnels. Yeah. You know what I'd be worried about? What glue I got to use to attach that properly. That's what I'd be worried about. I wouldn't be worried about cutting the things out. Actually, that part doesn't worry about it at all, because the photo etch is actually really durable compared to most brittle plastics. It's really pretty brittle. I mean, it's really pretty durable. And that part wouldn't bother me. Those are small as all hell. Yeah. He played a Pacific naval game and both fleets wound up in the same area. The game master didn't tell each side. Spent doing a long time searching. Pissed off a lot. Yeah. Metal gun barrels for every gun on the ship. Wow. Even the 4.1s, huh? AA guns too? I'd be worried about gluing them down. I'm just telling you, that's the part that would bother me. I definitely would be operating without my contacts in. There's no doubt about that. Be doing some super loop stuff. But I've messed with a little bit of photo etch, very little, and what I've messed with is a lot better than dealing with some of that, say the Rodin kits with their plastic that's extremely brittle. All right. Yeah, there's some ships out there that are really pretty. Scharnhorst is one of them. Scharnhorst is, the German ships look wicked. Repulse is a beautiful ship. Man, Repulse is a beautiful ship. Would have gone for the basic kit, but this one only cost you $10 more, so I said, why not? Flyhawk kits are super detailed to begin with, and then you had the photo depth, really makes it in depth. Yeah. You know what's difficult to find? It's difficult to find a place where you're like, remember the stuff that they used to have like at a hobby store? And you would go to the place with the catalogs and like, I want to look through Hasegawa. So you want to look through the Hasegawa catalog, and you could flip through, and it literally shows every kit that they have. Not necessarily built, but it has every box art or whatever of every kit that they have. That's difficult to find now because a lot of the kits aren't sold directly to the public. So if you go to like the Hasegawa or the Fujimi site, it's hard to get all that stuff. Same thing, I bet if you went to a Flyhawk site, it'd be hard to see, like, let me see everything they make, you know? You'd think that would be easier, but they don't sell directly to the public. So, they make a Gneisenau. I would love to get that one to go with the Scharnhorst. I don't think they make a Repulse. That's a ship I want to build. Yeah, it's a beautiful ship. I always liked using Renown, because Renown's a very useful ship to have in a war game. It's around a lot of places that I'm particularly interested in doing the conflicts during the area that it's in. Repulse, not really. I mean, she like searches for the Bismarck and then she goes out to the Far East to get her ass beat. You know, gets sunk. But Renown's really useful, and you know, she just had more modernization done to her conning tower, which I honestly don't think it looks better. But hey, that's what was done. You know, nobody consulted me when they said, "Hey, do you think we should make it look like this?" I said, "Nah, man, leave her with her classic lines." But I still do like I like Renown as well. Okay, this is the spare wheel. All right, so let's go ahead and cut it out. Yeah, Gneisenau has that. Gneisenau has the mast next to the funnel, not separated over there on the other superstructure. And it looks better the way Scharnhorst has it. Played a war game one time when I was a kid, and the guy was playing. The twins were out there, Scharnhorst and her sister, and this guy would refer to her sister as Gnisnu. What a moron! And this was an adult. Gnisnu. This is the spare. Yeah, I like the World War II ships so much more than the World War I ships because of camouflage. So you could have, like, let's say you have Nelson and Rodney, and you can make them different because they have different camouflage schemes. If you have a World War I ship, you know, they're pretty much painted the same way. So it takes some of that individuality away from them if you're doing another period other than World War II. That's where World War II is just like the perfect combination of so many different things. You meant Wales. Always type that too fast. Authorities apprehended a Chinese ship suspected of illegal salvaging and looting the Repulse and Prince of Wales. Yeah, I heard about that too. Not cool. I couldn't believe in how shallow the water it's in. It's only in a couple 100 feet of water. Kind of hard to have an implosion at that. Man, I had to look that up the last couple days. I didn't know anything about that was going on. I don't really pay attention to news, and I certainly won't care about a freaking submarine made out of a Pringles can. Yeah, that's kind of a hard thing to happen to me, considering I'd be scared to death of getting any kind of submarine. All right, let's find which is the right one. Now that we know that that's an important process here. Oh, got it right on the first try. You know, when you're a ship and you get sunk at a depth, that if you put the ship end on end, it sticks out of the water, that's shallow. Yeah. I wouldn't have gone to see Titanic. I mean, there's so many freaking wrecks in the Mediterranean, for instance, I'd rather go see. I mean, I don't need to see any of them, but I never understood the fascination with everything Titanic. Fascinated with the movie when it came out because 14-year-old me had a crush on Kate Winslet. It was so kindly showed the goods. I was forced to go to that movie with a girlfriend. I did not want to go to it. Like, you already know how it's going to end. And at that point, I didn't care for Leonardo DiCaprio. He was just some punk ass little kid. Big wargaming convention in Ohio this weekend. Which one's it called? Not that I'm going to go to it, but I bet I've probably heard of it. Ohio. Okay, now we're up to 3. I still say she could have moved over. I don't remember it. I don't remember what happened. I saw it once and that was enough. That was way too much. I was interested in shipwreck stores since the Spanish Treasure Museum got me thinking in Columbus. Origins. Oh, okay. Yeah, Origins is a big one. That's not the woke one, is it? Which is the woke one? Where people were crying about stuff. What's the other one? The one that's in Indianapolis. What's the one in Indianapolis? That's the people that were crying about shit last year. Okay, now you got 3. Is there a lot of miniature gaming at Origins? Well, may not be. Gen Con. There we go. That's the crybaby one. I don't have a problem with people being woke. I don't have a problem with people being leftist. Just don't be a crybaby, man. You know, like there was a guy that made a big boo-hoo video at Historicon last year or the year before. He was complaining about the one vendor that was selling all these things that were extremist t-shirts and stuff like that, supposedly. That's fine, but if this guy, the reality is if this guy had been selling a bunch of Che Guevara shit and a bunch of hammer and sickle crap, he wouldn't have a problem with it. Just be consistent. You know, a lot of that stuff is tongue-in-cheek. I wouldn't wear any of that stuff, but I don't have a problem with him being there. And the guy's been there selling those wares since day one. Zvezda model truck. Not these. These are Plastic Soldier Company. Had I been able to see the Antorcha Museum in Florida? I have not. I suspect it's probably on Key Largo, isn't it? I mean, that would make sense where it's at, because that's kind of where I found it. That is so far away from me, that might as well just be in a different country. When we go down to South Florida, we have a lot of family commitments for my wife's family. So, no, I have not seen it. It's like I've said before, there was a big thing on, I don't even think it was on the miniatures page. It was on something else. It was something less controversial than the miniatures page. Although I don't really find the miniatures page that controversial. There's just some people that just want to be trolling. It could be just anywhere. I haven't really been in a long time. And, these guys are making a big stink like, oh, we got to get more women playing war games. And hey, that's cool. I'm all for women playing war games, but there's just some things you got to understand that you can pray, you know, to the Almighty as much as you want. There's just some things that people just aren't interested in. It'd be like, we got to get Tony to watch sports. It isn't going to happen. Okay, I'm not going to sit there and watch freaking sports. I'm just not programmed that way. You know, and blame my dad. You know, I'm not interested in him. You know. When the Gators are playing in town, that's when we go out to eat. we just go do other things, you know. And you know, I go to what's the name of the crafty store for the ladies? Joanne's Fabrics, and I'm the only straight dude there. And okay, that's fine. I'm atypical, you know. Only thing I looked at 4 out of 3 hour video, Origins first day, didn't see any war games. RPG fantasy, yes, maybe I missed them. Yeah. Well, I'm a pacifist all the time, so I like playing war games. I'm a pacifist every day. It's easier to get women to do the hobby aspect of painting and building than it would be the game. I could see that. Sports suck, boring as hell. Oh, now you're Big Mac Sobaka. Okay, well, whatever works for you. I guess you have to have that special sauce, huh? Yeah, I just don't understand the watching aspect of it. It'd be like saying, I like to watch people play war games. Like, what's the point? You know? The point is to participate. It'd be like if you watch one of my videos that Mitch and I are doing of a war game, and you're like, oh, we almost kicked your ass. I'm like, are you even playing, dude? You know? You like the special sauce thing. Hey, it works. Never eaten a Big Mac. I don't ever plan to. Actually, stopped ordering food, getting fast food. I can cook all that stuff so much better and cheaper. Well, it used to be that it was bad for you. It's always been bad for you. But it used to be inexpensive and taste good. And it doesn't taste good, and it's certainly not inexpensive anymore. So, yeah. They always say, like, oh, we got to get Americans to eat better. You know how you do it? You make drive-through windows illegal. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not a fan of making things illegal, okay? Especially when the people that are telling you that things are illegal are doing all kinds of illegal shit. You know what I'm saying? Almost all fast food, too much sodium. Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's too much sodium in everything. But, you know, the only reason, like, if I go get something to eat at lunchtime, I don't want to get down. I don't want to get down and interact with people at a restaurant in my work attire, you know? I don't want to encounter anybody. And I don't necessarily wear a bad uniform or anything. I don't even wear a uniform at all. I want to just be left alone at lunchtime. You know, so, yeah, get rid of drive-through windows, and people wouldn't have all those unhealthy things to eat. I don't know, something else would spring up that'd probably just be just as bad, but yeah, fast food used to be decent, but it's been many years that's been the case. There would be a fast food solution. I think the fast food lobby would go crazy on Capitol Hill. Yeah. Is there a fast food lobby? There probably is. There probably is. Okay. Make tobacco and fast food illegal. I don't think they should make anything illegal. Like I said, because the people that are telling you it's illegal are doing all kinds of illegal shit. So I'm against it just on the sake of hypocrisy. Just for the sake of, who the fuck do you think you are telling me that? But baby steps, you know? Why can we go to Mars, but we can't make cigarettes smell like a pipe? You know? I mean, people don't really smoke pipes anymore. Well, not the legal kind anyways. But I remember when I was a kid, those things always smell good. Okay, so they freaking kill you too. Okay, but that's fine, but you're not torturing everybody else. You know? First drive-through was 1975. Or the 70s did it. You couldn't just go and grab a quick lunch right from work and through a drive-through. You'd have to actually sit down in the restaurant. Of course, back then there's probably places you could work that you could smoke at your desk, right? What else could you do? You could have a martini lunch. Boy, I'd enjoy lunch a lot more if I could have a martini lunch. I don't need to drink when I'm not at work, but when I'm at work, man, I'd be a lot more fun. I'd be a lot happier. And so would everybody else that worked with me. Your grandfather smoked a pipe all the time, and smoke's one of the things I remember the most about him. Pipe smoke is more pleasing to the senses. Yeah, it actually smells okay. So it's all that other nonsense. All right, let's put the front of this little guy. So the guys are having a game night. I'm saying this for Justin because he plays these set of rules. Hey, people can play whatever they want. I don't judge. There's reasons why you guys play the stuff that you do. But they're playing Flames of War, and I'm like, I just don't want to play Flames of War. So, I'm not going to poo-poo them like, you're a freaking idiot for playing it. No, I'm not going there, but I also don't want to waste my entire Saturday playing something I'm not interested in, that I'm not willing to learn because I don't want to play it again. And I've played it twice recently, and it doesn't scratch my itch. It's too much itch, not enough scratch. The fourth truck. Okay, these are the 4 inside tires. Yeah, I'm sure that with these lack of instructions that these kits sometimes have, there are a lot of things that are being put together incorrectly. But I'm still a fan of their stuff. And there's lots of models that do that. It's not like only these guys do it. I mean, all the freaking Russian kits are terrible when it comes to that. The PST ones, they're all over the place. They literally give you one drawing with arrows going every which way. And the Rodin one did stuff like that. Flames War was okay with right people and right setup. Man, I used to love it as a kid. We stop at Big Boys. They bring food on a tray and attach it to the window. You don't play by the rules in Flames of War. Fair enough. You're angry with Battlefront because they nuked their old metal lines and now we have next to no lines out. Yeah. Yeah, so I feel like resin has the best detail, but it's the hardest to work with. Plastic is... I'm not a plastic fan for figures. I don't mind it for vehicles. There's lots of things to drill out and stuff. I love assembling things with weld cement. And not just because I'm getting high smelling it. No. I guess there's people that do that, but I got lots of liquor if I want to go somewhere else. I got lots of liquor in the house. And you see how much of it I'm having. None. Actually, tonight would have been a good night to have some scotch, but I don't need it. I like to talk about it more than, partake in it. I just don't like somebody telling me that I can't have a drink. So yeah, I used to really like metal things a lot more, but metal's just a problem. If it falls on the ground, which I know it shouldn't fall on the ground, but if it does, it's so heavy it crushes itself. And unless I'm using epoxy, which I don't mind. You know, one of my favorite manufacturers was this company called MMS. They're out of business. All their stuff was 176 scale. Really well detailed metal kits. I have a few of them. They're a pain in the ass to put together because they have so many fiddly small parts and they're metal. So you gotta pretty much, pretty much have to use epoxy. Otherwise, you know, the super glue is just really brittle. And at some point in the future, it ends up breaking and you have to re-glue it again. So I'm a fan of plastic for models. Now for figures, you know, figures normally you don't have to assemble them; they're all one piece. So I'm good with the white metal. Yeah, put up plastic long before they did, but they still overpriced the kits, which made the impact plastic less. You don't like people telling you smoke weed. I think you can, as long as I don't have to smell it. You can do whatever you want, you know? I'm a big fan of not telling people what to do. But there's no control in that, so I wouldn't do really well in government. I'm not a fan of controlling people. Okay. Yeah, I don't like the smell either. You can do something about these smells, man. There's certainly ways they can do stuff like that. Like, why do cigarettes have to smell so bad? You're gonna be like, I don't care if people shit their pants, so I don't have to smell it. You're the one wearing the pants, man. Whatever. Whatever, dude. One of the funnest trips I took in recent memory was when we went to Savannah, Georgia. Savannah, Georgia is an open container place. You have to understand, drinking is not a big part of my life. But anytime they're like, if you go to this special place, there's even less rules than you're used to. I'm a big fan because I know how to behave myself. Like, I don't need laws and stuff. You know, there you can order a drink to go and go down the street and have a drink in your hand. Well, that's great if you're doing window shopping. And if you're somebody who behaves better when they drink. I don't know if I behave better, but I'm a hell of a lot more pleasant. So I've been told. You know, now if you're around a bunch of people that are freaking angry drunks, yeah, that's not good. But that's not me. You're a happy drunk. Me too. I'm a hugger. Now, one time, and it's only happened once, I was already angry, and then I had a drink, and that wasn't pretty. I didn't do anything stupid, but I could just tell I didn't give a shit. But if you, so don't drink if you're already angry. Yeah, I could have had a drink tonight. It's all good. It's not needed. Drinking is for when you're doing something you don't, to pass the time, to make you feel better, to get through it. Gaming and building models isn't really necessary. This is therapy right here. Would you rather build a 135th 38T with full interior or a T3442 with full interior? Well, there's a lot less interior to T3442. Is the T34 1942 version, does it have the little rubber mat where the shells are underneath it? Does it have that much of an interior? You know the Czech 38 was originally a one-man turret, and the Germans put a second guy in it? That would have been a mess with a one-man turret. That would have been a mess. A right mess. I like the Czech 38. It's a cute little vehicle. Cute little bastard. (1934-76) mod 4243 factory 183 according to the box. Isn't 183 a Chelyabinsk turret? I don't know. I think the best looking T-34 is the Model 42 one with the grab handles around the turret. It is a good looking vehicle. Really, all the T-34s are really good looking, but that one in particular is a very attractive vehicle. Here's a spare tire. Well, I guess we're just hanging out. You guys probably don't really care what the hell I'm working on. That works too. I got to get these done anyways. And you can see, how long have I been on here? 2.5, almost 3 hours. It takes a while to do some of this stuff. It just does. I mean, if you're not gonna sand things down, and I'm not being uber anal retentive, I could get really crazy, like, I think there's a little bit of a markup here. It's just, it is a war game model. I'd like to be done with it in my lifetime. All right, now we got 2 of each. Next. Here for the banter. Banter up. Yeah, I'm kind of here for the banter too, because I just don't want to do this alone. It's just stupid. What'll end up happening is I'd end up listening to a book on Audible, and I'd get bored, and I'd think about something different, and then the next thing you know, I'm not listening to what's on the book, and I give up and go do something else. And the whole purpose in doing this is to get this done, not to do something else. So I appreciate you guys coming in and have a little bit of back and forth. And it does help you get things done. Absolutely. Absolutely. I was the most successful of getting things done in the late 90s when I had a friend of mine who would come over, the original Mitch, whose name wasn't Mitch. He'd come over on Wednesday nights and paint. and we had a one of those collapsible tables in my room. So what was it, 36 inches by 6 foot or something like that. And we'd leave it set up there. I had a couple chairs. I had one room that was literally just a painting room in my house. I lived alone. Ah, the good old days. Anyhow, it's the 90s. So, you know, I had 3 bedrooms to myself, or 2 bedrooms and a loft. The loft was really the master bedroom, and we used as a wargaming room, which I didn't have a group like I do now, where you can game every week. It was like, you know, you game whenever people were around, and this is a very transient town. But anyhow, we had one room that was literally the painting room, and he would leave his stuff there, his paints, and we had kind of it wasn't an alt light, it was a neon light. Nobody had an alt light back then. And we just sat across from each other and chit-chatted, worked on stuff. He was not even close to being anal retentive like I was, and I was an even slower painter back then, so for everything I got it done, he got 30 things done. But it was a good way to unwind. Sometimes we'd have a beer, and if we had that second beer, no more painting got done. Like, it wasn't important anymore. And it wasn't. So it was just a social thing. And that's kind of what I've gotten used to, is doing it as a social endeavor. And you know, I don't need to do this by myself. I just want to socialize with people that have the same quirky interest that I do, which there's lots of people that do. They're just all over the world. You know, they don't live, you know, all in one area. You know, just the war gamers, for instance, that I war game with, I'd say 90% of them don't do anything creative. They just show up to roll dice, you know, and that's fine, but that doesn't help me get things done. I would rather build this stuff and paint things and never play with it than the other way around. Than play and not create. Because I've said it before, the gaming, as much fun as it is not therapeutic. This is therapeutic. The creative aspect of it. And when I was a kid, I used to draw a lot, and this has kind of taken the place of that. You know, painting and things like that. I actually had a wild hair up my ass, and I'm like, I wonder, I should buy the old model kits I used to have as a kid and like finish them like in a modern, competent way. Not an ancient, incompetent way. So all those old models I had by MPC in the early 80s. Be kind of cool, nostalgic to do that. And then I thought of this wise saying that I once heard that said, you just can't be into everything. The gaming is also very part of the hobby. You spend so much more time building and painting miniatures than you do gaming. Absolutely. Yeah, and I don't have anything against video games, but at the end of the day, you don't have anything to show for it. This, at least, you're doing something, And I'm blessed that I'm more than halfway competent in doing this, so I might as well do it. Anybody can play a video game. And when I'm doing this, I also don't have to listen to somebody who's like, listen to some 7-year-old with somebody 4 foot tall with a 6 foot mouth. You know what I'm saying? So. pretty nice if I get that 6th truck done tonight. Like I said, this just takes time to do. Well, the miniatures allow you to participate in it. Thunder on your end? Not here. It went away. Don't worry, I'm sure it'll be back. I was at work last Friday, and there was lightning that landed within 100 feet of me. And I'm surprised it wasn't louder, to be honest with you. But you don't even have time for your butthole to pucker up. You don't play video games with people I don't know. I agree. There's no point. At least if someone I know badmouths me, I can smack them. That's right. You know where they live. That's the problem these days. That the internet allows people to say nonsense and not have to get their ass beat. And I'm not saying people should be bullied, but when you said something preposterous, when you caused problems when you were a kid, you had to pay the consequences. And just being a troll or a keyboard commando, there's no consequences. It's even worse because some people actually enjoy arguing. I'm not one of those people. I'm like, if your favorite color is red and mine's green, we can coexist in my world. I don't feel like I need to convert you. But there's people that are thirsty for passing the bar and love to argue. And I just don't think it's worth it. It's just creating conflict that's not needed. Yes, okay. And this is the spare tire. This is probably the kit that has the least amount of spare stuff in it from Plastic Soldier Company. Looks like they only give you one extra tire on the ones that have 6 wheels. Now, the thing about the video games, I don't feel like I wasted the time. Just something really cool happens and nobody gets to see it. Of course, I can fix that by just doing a live stream of video games. But I keep saying I'm going to do that when the girls leave again. They're supposed to leave in about a month or so. To stream my zombie game, which is a stellar game, and all kinds of crazy shit happens. But I don't know if I'm actually going to do that. I'd rather just sit there and do this. Especially if I have a lot of things to do, which I do. I have a lot of things I want to accomplish. But I hate seeing really cool shit happen. Nobody's there to show. You're just in a vacuum. If something really cool happens and nobody's there to see it, did it really happen? Durable little trucks. If these were Eschi kits, you'd be doing all kinds of frickin' springs. All these pieces would be separate. That's just sadistic. And the problem is that the pieces aren't robust enough to carry any kind of a weight. You end up breaking it. It's not like I don't have the patience to put that on there. I have the patience. It's satisfying to do little detailed things like that, but it also needs to be durable. I have no problem doing tanks with separate link tracks. I find it extremely empowering. And sometimes they look incredibly good, like the Panzer III from Revell that I have. But that's only because the pieces are really well molded. If they were like poorly molded or assembled, yeah, that'd be a chore. A chore I wouldn't want to partake in. So we'll start tomorrow morning with epoxying the KVs. If we get these guys done, I'm sure we'll put something else together. I don't know what it is, but let's test fit. Cut, measure twice and cut once. Isn't that the same? Only video games I played was Angry Birds. I was fine with the first one, then they added Transformers and all kinds of shit that didn't go together. What time do I start on Saturday morning? Usually it's 6 a.m. I wake up at 5, and that gives me an hour to, go to the bathroom, look at email, eat. Usually by 6. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, the only time. You guys on Mountain, right? Which I think by far the smallest time zone in the United States anyways. So yeah, so alarm is normally at 5 o'clock. Every morning. I wake up Monday through Friday at 5 a.m. I might as well wake up at 5 a.m. on the weekends and do whatever the hell I want to do for a couple hours. Been playing some of the Diablo 4 this last week. It's not as addictive as, as things in the past. How many more demons you want me to kill, Just something to do. Played some with a wife earlier today. Just something to do on the side. Didn't take over the place of this. Not by a long shot. JRPG. What's the J part? I don't care for the go and talk to so-and-so. Why? Minimum conversation. Yeah, 4 a.m. I used to wake up at 4. And the original Mitch and I would get together and we'd hobby over Skype. He was stationed in Korea. So he'd be getting home from work when I'd be waking up. And got to get together for a couple hours. All right, last one. No point in not doing it now. Japanese role-playing game. Monday through Thursday, up at 5:09 a.m. Every weekend off. Remember the old days when Tony would only be live on the weekends? Really? I remember the old days when everybody was at home and they didn't work and people were live streaming stuff on Monday through Friday. The pandemic stuff. The pandemic it didn't affect my job at all. So you guys were all like, you guys, like maybe not anybody listening now, but the people that were having all those special situations come up just didn't apply to me. To me, it was just, we went from being busy to getting busier. and then I would, leave work, and it was another world that you guys were living in. And some people are still living in that world. I still see people in a car by themselves with a mask on. You can wear one if you want to, but I want to go back to how things were. I might as well take these off too. Well, we stopped doing Q&As because people didn't have questions for us. We had too much content. Things that get answered along the way. It was just something to do. It's fun to film things. I'm getting to the point where I enjoy talking to myself. It's not like I'm arguing with myself, but it keeps you on track. Notice every truck I've done, I've cut more and more pieces off at once. Games like Final Fantasy. Never played it. It's too linear. I wonder how much that setup cost them. I remember we'll always have that question be floating around, like, who's the most famous person you've ever met? I don't know that I've really met that many famous people, but then I don't really follow famous people. Phil Barker. The guy who does the car videos, the car reviews. Joe Rady. That's probably the most famous person other than Phil Barker that I've ever met. I really enjoyed meeting him. Not because I'm a fanboy of things, but because he seemed like he was the same person in real life as he was on video. I mean, I really appreciate that shit. I know some people said, "Man, we really like your videos, Tony, because they're unedited and I do it first of all because it's a lot less work." And also, I don't want to pretend that I'm somebody that I'm not. I'm very happy with the person I am. I don't need to I gotta pad my stats, so to speak. And when you see something crazy happen on a game that I'm filming, it really happened. You saw it happen. Would you call Frank Chadwick famous? Yeah, he's as famous as Phil Barker. I haven't met him. Joe Paterno is probably the most famous I've met. That's famous. Yeah, even I know who he is. Even I know who he is. You met Reagan, huh? I read the book recently on killing Reagan or whatever. I thought it was a pretty interesting book. Learned a lot of stuff. Well, I was a kid when that happened. I mean, obviously I still remember him, but a lot of that stuff, you don't pay attention to it because you're a kid. Everybody that's of my age always makes a big deal out of the Challenger. And I'm like, what'd you think was going to happen? They got a freaking rocket shoved up their ass, It could blow up. You couldn't catch me to do that. I remember when that happened. I remember seeing it. I would have been, 15? Yeah, I remember stuff from 15 really well. Yeah, he almost ran me over at Penn State. Stopped to see if I was okay and chatted for a few. He almost got run over by a coach. Where's Penn State at? Is it in Harrisburg? Is every state university always at the Capitol? I bet it's probably not always at the Capitol. And is every team's biggest rivalry the other one in the state? I don't know, we're getting too close to talking about sports. I better stop it right there. Utah State is in Logan, Utah, way north of Salt Lake City. I didn't think there was much north of Salt Lake City, other than Wyoming. I need to film more. Now that everybody's pretty comfortable with it, I need to film our games of Empire Builder. I really like that game. For a game where nobody gets hurt and you don't do nefarious things, that's a fun game. But I knew that because I liked the original one way back in the early 90s when I played it. Ogden, yeah. That's a pretty big city, isn't it? Great Railroad Junction, huge airfield with F-35s and a great airplane museum. I don't know, modern aircraft just aren't very exciting. I mean, there's exceptions to it, but I find it hard to get excited about it. An F-35, regardless of how exciting they are, or an F-22, or most modern aircraft that I think that I get excited about is a B-1. B-1 is just a gorgeous aircraft, just absolutely, fantabulously gorgeous. Looks good from all angles. That's how you tell if it's a good-looking plane. It looked good from all angles. That's how you tell if you have an attractive vehicle, if it looks good from all angles. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes my car looks really awesome from some angles. Other angles, it just looks like a overfed Corolla. Just depends on the angle. Not a B1. Looks good from all angles. Except it's like if it's crashing like a lawn dart or something like that. Here's a question for you. What's your least favorite hex and counter game in your collection? Man, I don't have any more. I don't have a single one. I have no hex and counter games left. I will get them, but I'll get them on computer where I can just set them up immediately. I don't have to play against the computer, but I really wish they would have made more of those Shenandoah Studios games like the Drive on Moscow and Battle of the Bulge. I am really a big fan of that. Elegant and at the same time. Red Parachutes, yeah, that sounds boring as shit. Sounds like the map looks like crap too. I want to say like I can picture it. Is that a GDW game? I think it's a Frank Chadwick game. I used to have the Destruction of Army Group Center, and I got it when I was way too young. I didn't know how to play the damn thing. And I just remember looking at the map and I'm like, this looks like ass. This is an ass-looking map. Although there's worse games. The worst war game of all time is, believe it or not, and I am a fan of Frank Chadwick, so don't think I'm bad-mouthing him. The worst game I've ever played is Avalanche Place from the 90s. Okay. My least favorite war game, quote-unquote war game, was a Frank Chadwick game called Soldier King. What a horrible, 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 dreadfully bad game. I didn't know Avalanche Place was around the 90s. Yeah, I did. I bought their first their SOPAC game, their naval game in the South Pacific in the 90s. I was living in the condo at the time. My least favorite counter game that I had that I don't no longer own, of course I don't have any of them, was Third Reich. I hated that friggin' game. Original Traveler, huh? You know, wasn't he involved in designing On Guard, the role-playing game? I got really fond memories of that game. Of course, I was just a kid, but one of the guys that was running, he had all the figures for the Three Musketeers, and yeah, he's been around a long time. He's had some good games, and just like everybody else, I'm sure he's. My top fives are Space Empires, never heard of it, Combat Commander, Gettysburg 77, Wooden Ships and Iron Men, and Richthofen's War. Never played Richthofen's War, played Wooden Ships and Iron Men. Just about everybody likes Wooden Ships and Iron Men. Even I do. Even though it's not my period. Combat Commander, I really wanted to like it. I just can't deal with no die rolls, and I can't deal with using a card that has an event but you don't. But you see the event, but you're using it for the die roll in the bottom corner. That bugs the living shit out of me. Everything else about the game, I'm a fan. Combat Commander is not an ASL ripoff. It looks like it is, but it's not. I actually like a lot about the game. I like that it's random, which is something that a lot of people don't like. I just can't handle that it doesn't have die rolls and that it uses a card as a die roll, but you see what the event, like, oh man, you wasted the freaking Stuka card on a freaking, on the die. I am a horrendously bad shuffler. So Rick says that he is a terrible painter. I don't know about that, but I'm sure he's a better painter than I am a shuffler. I just flat out cannot shuffle cards. And I don't care to admit that I cannot shuffle cards. I've watched videos on it. I'm hopeless. Jesus, I can't be good at everything. Well, what I really suck at is shuffling cards. And it's not that I suck at it so bad that I damage them. No, you just don't get a good mix. Tony's right, but that it reminds me that I also like the original Squad Leader. The original Squad Leader is good. I played it a lot. My only gripe with it in Advanced Squad Leader is I find the turns too predictable, like what happens in each one. But other than that, I played it a lot. You think you're a worse painter than you are a shuffler? Sounds like I've got to make a video together. I don't know. Do you want to paint? Because I don't want to shuffle at all. I'm perfectly happy never shuffling again. It's oh so unsatisfying. Shuffling cards for end on end would be the equivalent of like folding that bottom sheet on your bed that has the frickin' crimps in the corner. It's just hell. Just living hell. The fitted sheet, is that what that thing's called? Fuck that noise. Put that in the bottom of the freaking corner. There are times I wish I had some artistic ability. I have a decent workspace, I have free time, and I love miniatures. I love nothing more than seeing somebody who painted a masterpiece to get me motivated. But I admit that there's definitely that doesn't work for most people. But hey, this is what I can do. I can't do abstract math. This doesn't make any sense. This shit makes sense. Okay, look at that. And now we've got 3 special spare tires that are for these, and they don't have a place that goes underneath for them. So we might put some in the bed or whatever. So you open it like, oh, there's a little tire in there. Ooh, something like that. So now we have officially killed this box. Painters get such fine details. I've been doing it for 35 years. I feel like I have fine tip brushes, just barely dot of paint on the tip, and it looks like I smeared it everywhere. I know a lot of people that use paint pens for stuff. I got better control with a paintbrush than a paint pen. Everybody has patience when it comes to some things, and some things are just like, It's easier to freaking paint than to make a milkshake. Let's see. Let's get a Blitzy out here. I've never called it that, but I kind of like it. Yeah. So there we go. Well, now we got vacuum cleaners too. No, milkshakes are a pain in the ass because it gets that suction problem and they just stall, you know. I got off to get some stuff done, but it looks like that Wagner PMC is rebelling and has reached the first Russian city of Rostov. Been watching some stuff on that and got nothing done. Oh, you're talking about modern stuff? I haven't watched that in months. So, anyhow, this is where we're going to stop for the night. Pretty successful evening. Even though it looks like, man, all you did was put down 6 trucks together. Yeah, but it takes a while. It takes a while. So these guys are ready to be painted. And it's funny at this distance, it almost looks like they're metallic. They almost look silver. How strange. Just a glare. They're shiny. So, no, I did not wash these in warm water before I put them together. That is an anal retentiveness too far for me. But these guys are ready for in the morning to put them on the stands. And maybe this weekend we'll do a new background. I feel like I need to do a background painting for Ukraine or something like that with some fields or something like that. You know, the World War II Ukraine. But anyways, thanks for stopping by, folks. And we'll catch you guys in the morning if that's what you guys want to do. But Opal Blitz, yeah, I think they were, they're licensed by them. So. You just pulled in. Man, we just stopped. After, is it 3.5 hours? 3.5 hours. Well, in 3.5 hours, I put 6 trucks together, so half hour each. Of course, the last one's went a lot faster. So, and these are like a minimum of pieces, but you gotta sand things down. And the first one took, I think, a little while, but yeah. Nice little model from Plastic Soldier Company. I did an unboxing on these kits. 6 of them come in there, and they're on about $40. So